So everybody, it's Mike LYNDS here. So today what we're going to be doing is talking about mind muscle connection. So there's three major things that it comes down to mind muscle connection. So like it's range of motion, it's tempo, and it's like the visual stimulus, like you're visually seeing it flex, and then the feel of like the pump, like you're visibly seeing it, but you're feeling that muscle work through like each rep and each set. So I'm going to kind of show you examples of each and kind of go through and show you what you should be looking for and stuff like that. So I'm going to start with chest press. So for me, it's something that's easily visibly seen, like you can see my muscles working. So it's easier for it to correlate with you guys, the viewers. So when you're here, you should feel a stretch through your chest. And then when you come out, you should see your chest flex. Like most chest exercises are in front of a mirror, so you're gonna be able to see these things. So if I was doing this and I wasn't seeing it or I wasn't feeling it, what you would see on your end would be something like this. So you are seeing my chest move, but right now I'm feeling all shoulder. And all I did was move my elbows just a little bit. And now I'm tucking my shoulder blades in. And that made a world of difference. And as you can tell, my tempo and my range of motion comes into play as well, because my range of motion is basically coming down till I feel that stretch in the chest, coming up to full flex of the chest, not my arms, so I'm not fully extending. So I'm only going where my pec is taking me, not my arms. So I'm not thinking about pressing this away. So that is the big mistake a lot of people do, is they think, okay, I gotta press this thing farthest away. And then they get into like moving their shoulders away from themselves, and it totally takes themselves away from chest development. So there's one aspect, there's one pillar that helps the mind muscle connection, is the pump, and you're visibly seeing the muscle work and feeling the muscle work. So let's move on to the second exercise. All right, so now we're gonna move on to a lat pull down. So this is something that is completely the opposite of chest. So with chest, you can visibly see it, you can feel it and stuff like that. So with back, unfortunately, we can't see it. And this is where a lot of people go kind of astray with back development. They think they just have to grip it and rip it and pull. But this is the one you really, really, really have to concentrate on, that mind to muscle connection. You really have to concentrate on that feel. And this is where tempo comes into play, where range of motion comes into play, and really emphasizing that stretch and that squeeze on every single rep. So it really emphasizes what you're trying to achieve. So let's get into it, okay? So I'm just gonna do a regular pull down today. If I'm in like this, obviously you don't want your shoulders up in your ears, you want your shoulders kind of in front of you like this. Have them all nice and down, and you're driving those elbows down, come up to a full stretch. So you see I have tempo throughout the whole thing. If I was just trying to go for what normal people do, is they drop the pin and they just start doing this. And what that does is you're more so getting your arms into it, and you're not really, a lot of people will complain that their arms are getting tired, or their forearms are getting tired, their grip is getting tired, and they're not really having any sort of pump or feeling in their back. So that's why I stress in all my back videos is lower the weight and go on what you're feeling in the back, not what you think is going to develop your back. So range of motion and tempo for back is huge when it comes to mind muscle connection, and it's like almost like the pillar of developing your back. Like if you can't feel your back in every inch of that movement, unfortunately your back might not be reacting. You're using your biceps to do the whole thing. And you do see a lot of people in the bodybuilding world and in just general fitness that have great biceps, but little to no back. And that is, unfortunately, that's the reason. They could probably one arm a 150, 160 easily, but they don't do the full stretch. They're just like, they're doing that high, nice and tight kind of row. And unfortunately, that's all bicep. So with the back, what you should be feeling is when you go all the way up, you should feel that full stretch, like that stretch all the way from your armpit right down through the lat. If you're doing a seated row, it's straight across the back. From armpit to armpit, you feel that full stretch. And then when you squeeze, you're feeling that back contract and move together. And then you're feeling that flex of everything. So depending on if it's a downward angle or a horizontal angle, you're feeling that back contract and feeling everything flex. And that's what you want to feel. You don't want to feel it in your arms, you want to feel it in your back. And that's what a lot of people are lacking. They're just moving weight, they're not feeling what the back really should feel like. And then you should feel a pump. Like there should be some sort of blood flow into that muscle. So you should feel the feeling that your back is inflating, your back is getting big, just like doing bicep curls or chest flies. You feel that chest kind of getting bigger and stronger, and you visibly see it in the mirror. But with the back, you don't see it. So that's where a lot of people they feel, yeah man, I feel it, but it's more so like they have a good arm pump, and it's just taking over the visual aspect of what their back's feeling like. So it's unfortunate, but that is the norm that you see in a lot of gyms. So let's move on to number 3. All right, so we're gonna do another easily visible one, but I'm gonna talk about range of motion. So this is a preacher bicep curl, and it's one of those ones that if you don't do the full range, it's definitely gonna hinder your development. So you wanna come all the way down to a full stretch and then all the way up to the full flex. Down and up. And notice that I'm not going super fast with this. I'm emphasizing that stretch at the bottom, flex at the top. So a lot of people, what they do is they stop short and they're just doing one of these. So you notice that I'm not really controlling the weight on the way down. I'm more so catching it and then throwing it back up. So you want to control all the way up, all the way down, making that muscle work. And you notice what I do if I do singles, I literally put my hand here so you can actually feel it. And then as the set progresses, you're gonna feel that pump. You're gonna stop and you're gonna feel that burn, that lactic acid burn. And that's another thing that a lot of people kind of don't feel, especially in the back area. They don't feel that big lactic acid burn in the back. You will in the chest, shoulders, biceps, triceps, quads. But unfortunately with the back, a lot of people just don't push themselves far enough to feel it. So, that is another big one that helps that mind to muscle connection. The lactic acid burn, the pump, range of motion, tempo, it all comes into play and all creates that mind to muscle kind of, you know that it's working. You know the muscle that you're trying to work is working. So if you take anything from this video, guys, just truly understand the importance of mind to muscle connection. It's not something that we just kind of say just for fluff, or just for something to say to kind of make it sound like we know what we're talking about. It is an actual thing. So it's something that you should really mentally prepare yourself for and push to achieve for greater results. Throughout my whole career, even as an amateur before I got really serious into it, if I didn't feel the exercise, I stopped and moved to something else. And that was one thing I did throughout my career. Like if it was something that knew that somebody suggested I do, I would try it. But if I did a couple of sets of it and didn't feel any activation at all, I would stop. And I would just go to something else that I knew gave me activation. and it worked for me. It worked throughout my career, and that was my big thing that I went through my whole career, was mind to muscle connection and chasing that pump, chasing that lactic acid strenuous pump. But anyways, that's it for me today, guys, and hope you like the information. I'll catch you next time. Peace.